Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show, where we check the pulse of Husker Nation. Brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, this shirt was given to me by my kids, and that's all I got to say about that. Now, there was a question asked last week of AD Bill Moose, and later Scott Frost was asked similar things as well. And at the time that I saw it, kind of caught my attention. I was like, maybe I'll talk about that next week. Since then, some former players just kind of text me and hit me up. Now, it wasn't some big, major, divisive thing. It was just like, hey, what do you think? And I was like, what do you think? We kind of seemed to be on the same page. So I thought I'd talk about it. All right. So Sam McEwen, Omaha World-Herald, asked AD Bill Moose about the criticism from former Huskers that Scott Frost has received from time to time. Bill Moose said, and I quote, "These players are running to Twitter and social media." Let me start over. Quote, "These players who are running to Twitter and social media never had to go through the challenges Scott is going through, trying to rise out of ashes of losing football." End quote. Now, first of all, for those who know me, they know I have a predisposition not to trust the media. Okay, based on my personal experiences, and these are my personal experiences, so if it upsets somebody, deal with it. I wish they were a little different too, but I've seen people misquoted, partially quoted, all to push narratives and for clickbait, not by everybody, but by certain folks in the media that I experienced and I saw throughout my career. So I have a predisposition not to trust the media as a whole. Now, there's good guys within the media. Sam McEwen is a good guy. Sam McEwen does a good job. I respect Sam. He's one of those guys that I like and respect. But Sam, why just ask about former players? Now, I understand it's more intriguing to ask about former players because Scott's a former player. So there's a connection there. And maybe I missed it. But I don't know that I've ever heard Scott Frost asked about criticism from the media as a whole, as well as former players. So why just former players? Why not ask about media? Why not ask about everybody? Again, if I missed it, hey, shame on me. But that was one of the thoughts that entered my mind. Again, Sam does a great job. Respect Sam, the job he does. Now, much to my surprise and shock, and anybody who knew me growing up, I speak publicly for a living. Had you told me I'd be doing this for a living when I was a kid, I would laugh in your face and never paid attention to you ever again in my life. But here's what I've learned, and here's my point. Here's what I've learned. It's through public speaking. All right, it's not what you say. 90% of the time, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So when Bill Moose said, and I quote, "These players who are running to Twitter and social media," and you heard the rest of the quote earlier on, that made me laugh. Because I literally had this image of former players. Think of your favorite players from watching the Huskers back in the day, sitting on their couch. Ooh, I got to tweet this and I got to post this on Facebook, getting up and running to their laptop or their phone, or like they got to go to the bathroom really fast, except they're running to social media and Twitter. Bill, I love you. We've had the chance to meet and talk. You've been on the show. I appreciate you. I look forward to having you on the show again. I'm not going to lie. That made me laugh. The way that was worded made me laugh. First of all, everyone has social media on their phone, and it's right with us pretty much at all times. I mean, heck, I sit on the crapper doing social media. More info than you wanted to know. And again, Bill, I love you. But the way that was worded just made me laugh. Okay, I just got to put that out there. Now, Bill's right. Mr. Moose is right. No former players are going through what Scott is going through, if going back to the full quote. Also, no former players are being paid to do the job that Scott's being paid to do. That's the difference. Now, I gained a lot of respect for Scott when I heard this, because he talked about how he deserves most of the criticism that has come his way. I'll be honest with you. When I heard that, I gained a lot of respect for him, okay? Talking about that he deserves a lot of the criticism, and he wants to unite former players and let former players know that he wants them to be involved and part of this as well. And let's be honest, and Scott talked about this as well, and I'm paraphrasing, but winning cures, 99% of the time, winning cures all, and he's fully well aware of that. Now, I'm going to speak for myself and maybe some of the conversations that I had with former players via textual this past week, and maybe I can speak for them as well. We can only comment on what we see, okay? All right, what we see happening on the field with the Huskers. Now, in 2018, we start out 0-6. Okay, that's the worst start a Husker football team has had since the 1950s. Everyone preached patience. Scott has to rebuild. He was given, nobody's ever had to deal with this since the 60s, and Devaney took over. Okay, patience, patience, patience. Okay, since then, as you know, the record is 12-20 over 3 years. That's the roughest record any coach has had in decades, okay? Starting out basically since the late 50s and 60s. We haven't been to a bowl game in 4 years. Obviously, Scott's been a part of 3 of those 4 years we haven't gone. Again, it's been since the late 50s and 60s since we've experienced a stretch like that. We actually had 7 years before Devaney took over consecutively where we didn't go to a bowl game. Now, Okay, it's been rough as of late, obviously. But here's the deal. I can't wait to talk about a day when we're rushing for 300 yards a game, when we're playing for the Big Ten championship. I can't wait for a day when the offense is putting up 40, 50 points a game and the black shirts are knocking people on their rears and driving them into the dirt. I can't wait for that day. I can't wait to talk about that. Until then, we can only talk about what we see and give our honest opinions. And if that changes, we'll talk about what we see in the future. I hope you see that change. Throw the bones. Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.